Welcome to the HMO Property Show. By investors, for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show. I'm your host, Neil Gibb, and on Friday, I had a day out of the office to attend the Happiness Corps and M2 Corporate Golf Day, which was a charity day to help raise money for the Happiness Corps. And there's a podcast episode in the day itself, not just because of the game of golf, but how you can relate so many things that happen throughout that day to property investing. So stick with me. If you're not a golfer, don't stress. You'll still get something from this because it's not really about golf. It's about how you apply yourself in certain situations, right? So I'll set the scene for you. Friday, woke up buzzing. Golf clubs are in the boot of my car. M2 Corporate Golf Day in partnership with Happiness Corps. And I only really bought my golf clubs in October last year as well. So whilst I used to play years ago, but I'm definitely rusty, right? So I'm definitely not a professional golfer. I'm still playing off 18, which is the highest handicap you can play off. And we played at the Joondalup Resort. So if you've never been to the Joondalup Resort, check it out. I was actually blown away by how nice that place was. And more importantly, how beautiful the course was, but how challenging it was as well. I'm normally a big walker, but you cannot walk that course. You need a golf buggy. It is huge. There's hills everywhere, and some of the drives in between one hole to the other was absolutely huge. But when I turned up on Friday, I didn't know whose team I was going to be in, but it was really good to find out that I was in Jules's team. He's the founder of Happiness Corps. And then we also had Todd Cahoon, who's the co-founder and one of the directors of Happiness Corps as well. And then a guy which I only just met called Hamish Tedeschi. I hope we haven't butchered your second name there, Hamish. But Hamish owns a company called Mechanical Rock, and they've also been a big part of the Happiness Corps' growth over the years. I think they're one of their major sponsors and have sponsored their gala many times, as have we. And the interesting thing about this game of golf today, instead of everybody playing for themselves, you were in groups of 4. And that was your team, and we played what's called Ambrose. And the Ambrose format works where you all tee off, and then you pick the best ball. If you're, let's say, for instance, Hamish smashed a massive drive, we'd pick his ball to play our balls from. We'd all go pick our 3 other balls up and take them to Hamish's ball, and then we'd all play our balls from there. And there was 150 golfers in there, so there's, how many is that divided by 4? That's a lot. I'm not even going to try and work it out because I'm going to embarrass myself. But this is more about half the story of what happened on the day and half the lessons that come from it as well, because these just aren't lessons for property developers. This is lessons for if you've got one investment property, if you're building a property portfolio, or even if you're a business owner as well. I think you'll get something from this today. So, like I said earlier, the course itself, beautiful, super hilly, bunkers everywhere. Some of them just had massive rocks. And as a property developer, you think, how did they build that house up there? Like, the amount of retaining that went into that must have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to put that retaining wall in there. Just the way that you're wired when you're working in the property development space. And, being in a group with 4 business owners, there's no small talk, right? We're talking about what's working, what's not, what we're investing in, the challenges that we're coming up against. Like, you've got 4 hours together on a golf course, right? You can imagine what 4 business owners get talking about on 4 hours in a golf course, especially when there's a couple of beers involved as well. You start to loosen up a little bit. And it was just a really, really good fun day. But having someone like Jules in the group as well and being the founder of the Happiness Corps, we were talking about some of the challenges, but then he would throw in conversation around the mindset around that. What are you doing about that? How is that making you feel? And if you spoke to anybody about that, and that just made me realize that no matter where you are in your life, there's always people there to help you out. And there's always people there that you can lean on in tough times. And if you're going through something tough, like follow the Happiness Corps, reach out to them, see what's going on with them guys, because they are there to help, right? Same as my good friend Adam at Arm for Life as well. But no, there was a time, and this is when Jules kind of kicked in. There was a time I had a couple of really bad shots. I started off good, and my confidence went pretty high. And then holes like 6 to 9, I felt like just chucking my golf clubs in the lake. So luckily, again, I'm on there with a mindset and happiness guy, and just said a few words, slow it down, take your time. You got this. You started off good. I know you said you've only just been a beginner, but you know you can do this. And even though I was a beginner, I really wanted to win this tournament, or at least come in the top 3, right? HMO Property Co. were a sponsor of the event, so we sponsored one of the holes. And we also had, on our golf buggy, we had like a little flag with the with the HMO Property Co. logo on it, which was pretty cool. So there's lots of these nice little touches as a thank you for being a sponsor for the Happiness Co. over the years. But we went into this like we wanted to win, right? We didn't have any kind of idea how good the other teams were out there. And in the end, we just ran our own race and we just worked as hard as we could and got the result that we were really proud of as a team. Now, we didn't make the top 3, unfortunately. There was some incredible golfers that entered that tournament. But it makes you think, right? If you are out there looking at some of these great property developers or great property investors or some of these people on social media and you're seeing where they're at in their journey, is that stopping you from moving forward? Or is it inspiring you to move forward? Because you don't need to be the next Harry Triggerboff. You don't need to be the next Donald Trump, for instance. You just need to set your own goals, run your own race. And the only person you need to beat every single day is the person looking back into you in the mirror. And this is what this golf day was all about. If we knew what them other golfers were shooting, which we didn't, would it have changed our mindset? If we knew we were getting our asses kicked by the teams that won, would we have thrown in the towel a little bit earlier? Or was it good that we didn't know what they were doing and we just focused on our own goal and our own race? And look, we played some pretty good golf. And I say we, I mean Hamish. He was a good golfer. But together as a team, like on the times that he didn't pull off cracking shots, somebody else on our team did. And we went around that course in some very, very good. I'm pretty sure we parred the course because we had quite a few birdies. So, yeah, happy days. It was a really, really good day. And if you're not sure about, and you might have heard this, but Happiness Co. released a mental health app or mental health companion named Happy, Happi. Check it out online. We've had Jules on the podcast just recently talking about this. So again, this was another promotion for this. Now, there's not just us that have got this app out to all of our tenants. Now, other companies are starting to use it as well and getting it out there as well, which was really cool. So some of the lessons that I learned. Lesson 1, can't win alone. And if you think about real estate is a contact sport. You need contacts in this game so you can move forward, whether that is buyer's agents, seller's agents, accountants, mortgage brokers, solicitors, you name it, you need them in your team. Because if you're just out there taking bad shots, you haven't got anybody else to help you take the good shots, right? And sometimes surround yourself with these good people, with these right people, experienced people. That's like playing Ambrose. You can potentially take a bad shot and they can save you by pulling you out of it with a good shot. And what that could be, you could potentially have a property portfolio now that you bought in the wrong area at the wrong time and you haven't got the capital growth that you wanted. But then you could offset that with the right property at the right time in the right place, or a property that gives you cash flow, capital growth and debt in the same deal as well. So you just need that team around you. And then, on the course again, I had Jules keeping us all on track with his dad jokes and his witty humour, but also just them little nuggets that he kept dropping in there as well. So he was there to kind of pull you back when you're about to throw your golf clubs in the river. And in property, you've got your broker, your accountant, your property manager, your joint venture partners, your mentors. That's your Ambrose team. You don't get to pick those people by running your own show and playing your own game. Because most investors who stall aren't short on information. They're short on the right people. Like I said earlier, real estate is a contact sport. You need contacts. You need people in your corner. The more hands you shake, the more deals you make. I think it was Grant Cardone who said that. And when I first heard it, I thought, that's a bit cheesy, isn't it? But it actually makes sense. The more good people you've got, the more people you're friends with, the more people you can take for lunch, the more people you can go for a drink with, then you can get them people in your corner. Now, lesson number 2 is know when to take the shot. So in Ambrose, you have to read the hole, right? And sometimes you can go aggressive. Sometimes you take the safe line. The mistake is defaulting to one mode regardless of the situation, right? So think about it. 4 people tee off. If the first person hits a great drive, then the other 3 people, the pressure's off. If the first 3 people hit terrible drives, then the pressure's on the 4th person to pull them out and make sure that we're on track. Now, that 4th person, instead of taking a really aggressive drive, he might take a safe shot so that we can all take our next shots from his goal, from his ball. And, knowing when to take the shot when you're thinking about the property market now. Perth right now, is it the right time to take the shot? I still think it is. I still think Perth has got a lot of legs in it. If you look at the last results from Cotality, Perth did 7.4% last quarter. Again, it was the highest performing state in the country. And 18 to 24 months ago, everybody was saying it was out and we should go to Melbourne and blah, blah, blah. Now, the problem with the Perth market is because it's still so hot, it's very, very challenging to find blocks of land. It's also very, very challenging to find properties that you can purchase as well. So I've been reaching back out to my friends in Melbourne, having some conversations with them, mainly just to make our lives a little bit easier as well, but also to open up another market. We went over there last year. We met some people that I knew. Again, real estate's a contact sport. Got lots of contacts over there, lots of friends over there. We met some builders. We've now got a buyer's agent that is working nationwide under our Equity Accelerator program in our company, so that he can now be looking at blocks of land in Melbourne. We'll be doing off-market transactions, letterbox drops, stuff like that. Yeah, Melbourne. I think we're going to be in Melbourne in May. I'm going to Hong Kong this weekend with my lovely family, take a little week off, and then I'm going to come back and then we're going to push the Melbourne thing. So we'll be picking up blocks of land for our clients, ourselves, and not because the Perth market is hot, not because I believe the Perth market's at its peak. It's because it's getting harder and harder to find blocks of land in the Perth market. And the next market to move will be Melbourne. We'll still be buying in Perth, don't get me wrong. I still think Perth has got 2 to 3 years left of this just madness, because we literally, supply and demand is the only metric you need to look at right now for this, right? Whilst we've still got 2,500, 3,000 properties on the market for sale, we need 8,000. And whilst that doesn't sound like a massive jump, to actually fill that delta with new properties, whilst we've still got people moving to the state, it's becoming very, very challenging. So lesson 3, the round you play versus the round you planned. So like I say, our plan was to win. I'd never played this course. Jules and them had played it previously. I had no idea how hard it was going to be. I mean, we had a couple of bad holes. We just had to recalibrate and just be consistent, one shot at a time, work as a team. If somebody's mindset in the team went because they had a couple of bad shots, let's lean on the person that's got the good mindset because they're on form at the time. That's a good thing about Ambrose, and that's a good thing about property. You can do a bad deal and then you can potentially reach out to somebody for a conversation about that deal. And I've seen people say that they actually want to stop investing in real estate because they've done a bad deal. But the best lessons come in the worst wrapped presents. Is that right? Have I butchered that? The best lessons come in the badly wrapped gifts. What that means is, like, if you just continuously win, you're not really learning much, right? Because you just know how to win. But when you lose, you also know what not to do. So if you've just done a property deal that didn't go to plan, you didn't make the money that you wanted, you might have lost money. Just chalk it down as an expensive lesson and just pick yourself up, dust yourself down and move on to the next one. Because if you're looking at somebody as well with a substantial portfolio, I can guarantee you they have made mistakes, right? I've made mistakes. All these other people that are on social media have made mistakes. Obviously, we just show you the highlight reels, but I've been open and honest about some of the projects that I've done that lost money. And my first development in Palmyra, I lost over $200,000 on it. And remember, you don't need to be the next Triggerboff. You don't need to be the next Donald Trump. You just need to build your portfolio that's relevant for you. Your journey, your story, your outcome, you, your family, if you've got one. Run your own race. Try and beat yourself on a daily basis. 1% little improvements every single day. That's all you need to have, because every master was once a disaster and every winner was once a beginner. I only bought my golf clubs in October, but I was on that course on Friday, showing up, adapting, keep going. I've been on the driving range. I've had golf lessons because I want to improve. And when I think about the hunger and the passion that I've got for the game of golf at the minute, it kind of reminds me about when I got into property back in the days as well. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to meet more people. I wanted to improve. I wanted to get better. But you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. Lesson number 4 that I got from the golf course: proximity is power. Yeah, I say this constantly, right? I already knew Jules. Me and Jules have been mates for years. I'd only just met Todd recently, but Hamish, this was also the first time I met him on Friday. I'd heard about his company because they've obviously been sponsored the Happiness Core Gala for many years. And after spending 4 hours on a golf course with people like this, you get to see there's a different type of connection that you get compared to a coffee meeting or a LinkedIn message or anything like that. Business owners, we're all kind of coming up about the same thing, right? We all might think our situations are unique, but they're not. We've all got to manage teams. We've all got to create marketing ideas. We've all got to create a sales process. We've all got to keep the lights on. We all feel responsible for the people that we employ, that work with us. And we also feel a level of responsibility for the clients that work with us as well. And, you know, even though we've worked with close to 400, if not just nudging over 400 clients now, I do not take that for granted that we have worked with that many people. As want every single client that comes through that door to feel like they're our only client, and I do absolutely everything I can to make sure that we can get them the best results that we can possibly get them as well. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because all business owners think the same, right? 90% of us, I reckon. 90% of business owners want to do the right thing. There might be a couple of scammers out there, don't get me wrong. I can't vouch for them. I want every single person that we work with to be successful, because if they're successful, we're successful, and then that continues on and people get to know about it. Some of the ways you can surround yourself with the right people. Proximity is power. Golf courses are a really good place to get to know people, right? If you can, I joined the Perth Golf Network, and I've only played 2 games since I've been in there because it's challenging to get out the office sometimes. But some of the people that you meet on these golf courses, if you're playing golf on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, for instance, the 3 of the people that are in your team, they're not at work for a reason, right? You can meet some really, really good people on a golf course. You can also be paying, $3 to $6 grand to get access to an education course, which will get you access to their group of investors, which will potentially get you access to some of their seminars, and then you're in the right rooms with the right people. And then, you'll get to the stage where you're paying $20,000 to $30,000 to work one-on-one with the actual leader of that seminar or that course as well. And I've done that many times now. One of the people I've done that with that's just had a big shift in my life has been Ryan Tuckwood. And Ryan always tells us this thing about familiarity. If you can get in front of the right people, let's say, for instance, Ryan's got the story about Shark Tank. They were the first company to get 4 out of the 5 sharks on as investors in their business. And the way that they did that was really strategic, right? So they started showing up at keynote speeches or breakfast mornings where some of the sharks were going to be. And they'd stand up and they'd ask questions at that breakfast morning or that seminar that were kind of thought-provoking questions, around family, around kids, around business, stuff like that. And when Ryan and Jack walked into the room on Shark Tank, one of the sharks said, "I recognize you guys." And instantly that built a connection with them. And it probably put the other sharks at ease because one of the sharks said that they recognized them. And then all of a sudden they become the first company in Shark Tank history to get all of them sharks into their business. Now, that's proximity is power again, right? They went in the right room with intention and asked the right questions to become familiar with the sharks so that when they got in front of them, they actually had a reason, or the shark recognized them and invested in their business. So there's lots of ways you can be in proximity of people, be creative. I've just given you 3 really good ways there, right? Turn up at breakfast mornings and keynote speeches, get yourself on the golf course, and get yourself into seminars and stuff like that. What I want you to do at the end of this podcast is make a list of 5 people that you want to be around. Maybe you follow them on Instagram, and maybe you've seen them on LinkedIn, maybe you've seen them on other people's podcasts. Make a list of them 5 people and try and get around them. Go to their keynote speeches, take them out for lunch, show up at events that they're speaking at, ask the questions, create the relevance. Lesson number 5, and this is the last lesson that I've got for today: know your own capabilities and be brutally honest about them. We didn't win on Friday. We played hard. We were proud of the result, but we got beat by better golfers. And that's fine because we knew our game and we ran our own race, and we weren't really comparing ourselves with their round throughout our round. We just stayed focused on what we needed to do to get the result that we knew we were capable of. And that's what you need to do as well. The reason that I tell you that is we knew our game and we ran our own race. But in business, I haven't always done that. Like I said, my first development project, was in Palmyra, and the deal took too long, right? The holding costs killed me, and I lost over $200,000 on that deal. It hurt, but it was a very expensive lesson that I needed to learn at that stage of my career. I'm not saying everybody needs to go out there and do that, right? But without that loss, I don't think I'd be the person I am today. I don't think my business would be the business it is today, and I don't think I'd be doing the property deals that I'm doing today. What I'm saying to you is, don't not take risks, because if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. The lesson that I'm trying to say is, know that the course you're on, know your capabilities today, not your capabilities in 3 years, but try to play 3 years ahead before you're ready, and you'll find out exactly what it costs. You don't need to be the biggest player in the room. You need to be honest about where you're at in your journey and build from there. And every day you just need these small 1% improvements every single day. 1% improvements every single day. Is it a podcast? Is it a book? Is it a phone call that you're going to make? Is it 10,000 steps? Are you going to get a personal best inside the gym? Because no matter where you're at right now, you can get to wherever you want to be, right? First of all, you just need to know where you want to go and why you want to get there. And then when you know why and where, then the how is relatively straightforward, right? Tony Robbins always says that if your why is big enough, then the how is simple. And my why was to build the life that I live in right now. So you ask yourself, why do you want to do this? And then get yourself around the people that you need to be around to help pull you up to that level or propel you to the goal that you need to be at. My name's Neil Gibb, and I'll see you next time on the HMO Property Show.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.